Morning, everyone. Welcome to the August 25th, 2026 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you were with us, and for those watching online, we're glad you're with us as well. We'll begin as we always do with an invocation. Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, please watch over this body as we try to make good decisions for our community. Please watch over the citizens of Henderson County and our region. Please put your blessings on those men and women in uniform, both here and abroad. We say these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Barry.
Here.
Magistrate Southard.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Yes, ma'am.
And Magistrate Pupkin.
Here.
Hutton.
Here.
Magistrate Pumpkin.
Gentlemen, you have in your packets the minutes of the August 11th, 2026 Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I entertain a motion to approve those.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have a busy schedule today, and we'll start off with our favorite water salesman, Mark Julian. Give us an update on how the leak project is going.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I'm covering 2 months because I wasn't able, due to sick family, last month to give you a report for June. Just start out by saying I know that this project has taken a while. We're just trying to be careful how we do things, and so that we're not wasting taxpayer dollars, right? The most important thing is we get the utility finances stabilized and start looking on how we're going to replace an aging water infrastructure. The good news is for the last 2 months, water loss has been below 25%, and that's definitely a big thing to say. So we can tell that this has been effective. What remains out of the original goals as part of the grant agreement is going to be the system flow monitoring. That goes back to we can't manage what we can't monitor. So right now, we're relying on either customers to call in or utility staff to find leaks, and then we get them scheduled, get locate tickets in, and get them fixed. Once we have that flow monitoring established, and that data is integrated into our telemetry, our SCADA control system, and then also our Neptune AMI meter reading software, then we're going to be able to get those leaks fixed a lot more quickly. So I'm sorry if it's hard to see, but basically this is just the first month of the 2-month reporting I'm doing, so this is going back to June. We bought about 40 million gallons. We sold about 29, so that's about 10 million gallons not sold. Out of that, we had documented loss of about 900. I'm sorry. Yes, almost 1 million gallons. So not a bad month. We're below 25% in June of water loss that we didn't account for. So those are leaks that we either didn't get fixed or haven't identified yet. So that's the positive for June. Bought 40 million, sold 29, almost 30. So that's definitely an improvement from the past few months. Have our flushing log on the right, and we have our main lines fixed in the middle column on the right 3, and then in the middle you see the service line leaks fixed. So it's about 15 leaks fixed a month. Keep in mind, out of the staff we've hired, leaks is not the only thing they do. We've got sampling that occurs for EPA and Division of Water compliance. We've got other things we're trying to do in the system to get things stabilized. We've also got new meter sets that we're trying to concentrate on so that people don't have to wait an enormous amount of time to get those new meters set. So this is last month. So this would be a normal reporting month where we're just 1 month behind. So we purchased about 43.5 million gallons for July. We sold about almost 37 million. And the water loss is, almost below 15%. So we're definitely getting to where we need to be. Like I told you probably about 3 months ago, we had those elevated numbers for a few months because we had some adjustments on getting those new meters installed. So that kind of explains why we've seen some fluctuations in our water loss numbers. Other important things to brief the fiscal court on. We've got a cost of service study started with the consultants and Kentucky Rural Water Association. This is where the utility looks at its rates every so many years to make sure that we can be self-sufficient with our finances, so that we're not, always trying to find out how we're going to fund operations. So prior to 2023, as I've mentioned before, the last time that we had a rate increase for the water district besides the annual adjustments when the city of Henderson does a wholesale price adjustment. So aside from that, the last time before 2023, December, January 24, the last rate increase was 10 years prior. So if that explains anything why finances weren't able to be sufficient for operations, I think that kind of speaks for itself. Every few years, the utilities across this country have to look at, has their wholesale costs increased? Labor costs have gone up, materials. As we know, inflation's hitting us all. Whether it's gone up and gone down, it's still elevated prior to COVID. And supply chain issues also play a role in our operations. Last thing on this slide, the flow metering and the district metering areas and integrating those flow metering flow data into our SCADA and our meter reading software is how we're going to really complete the last part of the project that we're working with you all on. And we're working with Kentucky Rural Water just about as quick as I can get them down here, get more sites identified. It's in the works. I hesitate to tell you because I hate telling people things we can't deliver on, but I'm hoping in the next 2 to 3 months we'll have this done. Have all the systems in, have all the meters in, everything hooked up and working. Again, that goes to we cannot manage what we cannot monitor. This is just showing the breakdown of the water loss for July that we can account for. So about 2.5 million gallons was because of main line breaks that we did get fixed. Almost 1 million gallons of service line breaks, which we are replacing those main to meter. So that's infrastructure that done correctly, and that's how we're doing it. It won't have to be replaced. So it's dollars well spent. Tank overflows. A main issue that we're working on, aside from our leaks and our water loss and the normal things you hear me talk about, is hydraulic changes. The system got designed back in the late 60s, right? And as it's grown over the years in the 90s and early 2000s, they added on additional storage tanks in the county. But changes happen hydraulically. That's going to really require a professional engineer to come in and work with myself and my staff to get the 41A corridor kind of worked up to where it needs to be. When the city put Pratt Tank online, it changed how we were fed, and we're still working through those changes. I know that's almost 2 years, but things don't move lightning quick in our world, and I apologize about that. So this is July's reporting. Again, you just see 43.5 million gallons bought, 36, almost 37 million sold, and our water loss being below 20%. I think that's a big pat on our back to fiscal court for your assistance, the county's help, and also our staff. And again, we're still about the same amount of leaks repaired during the month, and I hope that increases as we get our flow monitoring sites installed and online. Another highlight real briefly, because I know y'all have a busy agenda. Staff recently attended a Neptune Connect conference in Nashville. So that was the meter vendor where we bought these new meters. So about 1/3 of them are in. We're working with the city of Cordon and GRAD on a community development block grant to try to get some more meters purchased with grant funds in that manner. And then that will lessen the amount we have to fund through long-term debt for the system improvements project. But this conference was great because it gains the necessary training on the new software and systems that we need. How to deal with customers when they call in about, hey, my bill is elevated, what the steps to go through are, learn how utilities are handling similar issues, and of course the regulatory compliance and certification requirements for operators. We also learned about proven water loss reduction strategies and operational efficiency and accountability. So we've got 7 active purchase points. Henderson County Coal is one of our new larger customers around the Corden area, that coal mine. So we have opened up an additional purchase point that used to be active with the city around Wilson Station. So now we have 7 purchase points, 6 with the north system and 1 with the south. We're going to put flow meters in all 7 pump stations. The wiring infrastructure for wiring that up to SCADA, that groundwork was kind of already laid with part of the grant money that the fiscal court helped the water district out with. So half of that's done. We just basically need to get the meters purchased and put in, and then integrating that data with our telemetry will not be a big capital expense because it's already been, groundwork's already been laid. Looking forward, future visits from Kentucky Rural Water Association. That's a member utility organization that helps us. It's not part of the state. They will help us. Their consultants will help us identify more locations in addition to these pump stations so that we can get this important work done. We're defining the meter sizes. We've got most of them figured out, but we've got probably about 6 or so that we're still working on, and the next trip should be in the next few weeks where we come down and get those done. And then, like I said, we'll be coordinating with our AMI meter software, Neptune, and that 360 portal, and then the telemetry integration. Something that probably you do want to update on is that My 360, where customers can see their usage. I know that that's something that everyone wants, right? Right now, basically, we've got 2/3 of the system that's on aging meters, right? So they're not as accurate as they used to be. It's a big part of the project that we've been talking about since I've been giving these reports to you, part of this grant funding. So we've replaced 1/3 of them. We can go ahead and spend the money, right, and get that portal established so that customers can see their usage, but only about 1/3, roughly out of the 6,500 metered connections that we have in our system, roughly about 1/3, or a little over 2,000, could see their usage every day. What our plan is, and the fiscal court could weigh in on this if you so wish to do so, we were going to wait until we had more of those meters changed out so that more customers could take advantage of it. But basically, that's what it is. There's a price tag to that software, not passed on to the customer directly. The water district would spend the money, would get that portal open, and then customers would just be able to scan a QR code on their bill or go to a web address in the Play Store or App Store, fire it up, put in their account information, and then they would be able to see their usage. Right now, until that happens, customers can call in during business hours, and we'd be happy to look that up for them. Yes, so we're going to develop these zones that we created. We're going to subdivide them, and then we'll be able to better track our water loss. I've only got 2 more slides here. So the Zone 2, this is the 41 alternate highway corridor and our Rock Springs. That's where everything's bought from the city and pushes south to those bigger customers like the coal mine. We're meeting with an engineer on the first, and we're compiling our estimates to go to the PSC for spending some surcharge collection funds. So we're kind of doing a hybrid funding on this. We're using some of the fiscal court money and using some of the surcharge funds to accomplish the last parts of this project. So I'll be briefing my board tomorrow night on the same things that we're talking about here. Looking forward 5 to 20 years, the system improvements. That's where we take this entire big water system and we're identifying the main pressure points, the main pain points where the infrastructure's aging and it's contributing to financial difficulties, right? Because we're losing more. The whole thing was based on we're losing more water and we're not able to sell it to capture that revenue. So we're going to be replacing mains with that. It's a large project, but that's where the other 2/3 of the meters will get replaced. That's where we're going to be replacing all the aging water mains that were put in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s. And as the clock keeps ticking, that'll keep on going up into the 90s. But we'll also be replacing the service lines, and then we'll look at any pump station rehabilitation and tank rehabilitation. Like I've told you before, all the tanks got cleaned out in 2024. So we do care about water quality, and we want our customers and the constituents of this county to realize that. Funding path. We're working with GRAD, and we're working with Strand Engineers, Kentucky Infrastructure Authority, and communities like the city of Corden to try to get that CDBG funding, to try to get some of those meters purchased with those grant funds to lessen the amount we have to borrow. Do you have any questions about anything that I've covered so far?
I'm going to do the obvious and ask one, Mark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When the PSC ordered a rate case and cost of the service study, with all the improvements we're making and the leaks we're fixing and updating the system, when I first look at that, I'm thinking, well, rate increase, are we anticipating maybe all we're doing is not going to kind of stabilize that so you don't see those rate increases?
What we have done here, what the fiscal court has done here, has lessened the amount those rates would have to go up to fund all this. But there's no way that we could pass on a massive rate increase to our customers. That's why this 5 to 20-year capital plan, it's going to have to be done in stages. Yeah. I don't anticipate it going up drastically because everybody's being hit from all sides with cost increases. We're just trying to fund operations, package what we're trying to borrow in, 5-year phases, basically. Instead of rates going up drastically, like 150% in 5 years, it would be over the course of 15 to 20.
But definitely an increase.
Definitely an increase. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
So when we started talking about giving money to y'all, that was one of the things I asked. If we didn't want to take taxpayer tax dollars, the people's money,
Right.
and fix a system for like a rate increase. And I felt like we were told that once we got the rates, the water loss down, that our rates would stay the same.
They won't stay the same because every few
I mean,
years, utilities have to look at that. I mean, what this money did is this basically shored up a great deficit, right? It didn't replace all the infrastructure. It was never going to be enough to replace all the aging infrastructure, but it did get everything to this point. We've accomplished a lot with this money, and it's not all spent. I mean, there's still some funds remaining, and we're abiding by that grant agreement, everything that was in that corrective action plan and that grant agreement. That's what we're working towards. But in no way, shape, or form, and if I ever said anything to say that it would not make rates go up at all, I don't believe.
Well, I know they wouldn't forever,
Right.
but that was what I was asking. As soon as we hit this level to where because you couldn't raise rates because you were losing too much water. And I personally asked that question.
Correct.
Are rates going to go up as soon as we hit that level because the people paid for this,
They did, yes.
and now they're going to get hit with a rate increase too?
The Public Service Commission governs everything we do. This is not a decision that I made as superintendent or our board. The PSC regulates everything we do, A to Z, what we charge for water, how we do things, how we interact with customers, the whole 9 yards. So that is part of a PSC order, I believe dated April of ’25. They ordered us to either explain why we didn't need new rates, an alternative rate case filing, or what we're doing. So right now, we're putting together a cost of service study. We're not trying to fund 20 years of improvements by drastic rate increase, as I was talking to Magistrate Putnam about just a minute ago. That is not what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is basically say, look, this is the condition of the system. We've reduced our water loss as part of this grant, as part of the help with the fiscal court with tax dollars. And now we're looking at the next phases, a capital improvement project that it may take more than 25 years. I just know that cost estimates are looking drastically high, so there's no way I'm even recommending to my own board that we can fund this in a short amount of time. We'd be taking on long-term debt. The only long-term debt that the utility's even carrying right now is the last time we did major improvements to the system, not this project. This was when Maine was replaced on US 60 East, basically from Tillman Bethel to the Spotsville Bridge on 60. That's the last time the utility took on debt. I wasn't even superintendent then, but it was needed, and I'm glad they did it. I just wish we would have looked at something a little more inclusive of the rest of the system over the past 10 to 20 years. That would have lessened what we're looking at now. One last thing, Magistrate, you're welcome. One last thing is, I didn't know because we hadn't looked at that when we talked about that. The PSC had not ordered that at that time. So in no way was I trying to be not honest about anything.
I don't believe you were.
Oh, no, Mark, me either. When I was reading it, I just kind of jumped out at me. So-
Absolutely. I mean, I understand how serious this is.
Yeah.
Just looking forward, we're going to continue our timely leak response and documented loss tracking. We'll advance the flow meter site selection, installation, and getting those estimates to the Public Service Commission for spending surcharge funds. We'll be preparing the packages for our board and the PSC for the flow metering and the system improvements. We'll continue working with Rural Water for the cost of service study and the flow metering, and we'll be coordinating funding for the system improvements with the Community Development Block Grant and complete the Zone 2 hydraulic planning with Strand in September.
Mark, you all continue to be cash positive every month.
No.
So do you have a plan for funding this debt that you're planning to take on? Is that kind of part and parcel with the potential rate increases?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you strike out on any of these grants, not that it's a huge probability, but you probably don't have the revenue at the moment to fund them yourself.
No, we don't.
So how soon, have you been cash positive in any month recently, in the last 6?
Yes, but to be fully transparent with you, it's been because of the grant money.
Okay. So how far do you think you're away from being operating in the black?
We just got an order this morning that said that we have until December of 2026 to have the cost of service study turned into the Public Service Commission. So I would estimate within 6 months of that date. So we'd be looking at June possibly of 27 is when.
Okay.
That's what I would estimate. That's the latest it would be.
Do you keep a general reserve fund, a rainy day fund?
We do. We keep restricted funds, and that's a board set amount.
You know how much is in there now?
There was $500,000 in there before we started having to spend some of it. Now, by the time that the fiscal court came to our aid in May and June of ’25, we had spent, I'd say, approximately $100,000 of that. So around $400,000 of that restricted funds still remain.
If you had your druthers, what would that general reserve fund actually sit at? What's your annual budget, I should say?
500. Well, the annual budget's probably with revenue, I'd somewhere around $3 to $4 million.
So you have a target for that, what, 3 months operating, 6 months operating, maybe in that fund?
For the reserve,
Yeah.
it's probably, it hasn't been increased in quite some time.
Yeah.
But when the board did set that restricted fund amount at $500,000, it was, before I became superintendent.
And the reason I ask these questions is, one of the goals, I think, is to get the Water District on solid financial footing.
Absolutely.
To be able to handle what happens in the future. And so keeping us abreast of that progress, too, would be good. I know that the rate increase is part of that to cover ongoing expenses in the future. But, we talked when we granted the $3 million that we got to fix it for the long term too, not just, all the operations so the district can sustain itself. And part of that is taking direction from your board and having them, roll up their sleeves and dive into that prospect too. So you might keep us abreast of that progress.
Next month, I will have numbers for you.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Mark, I've got a question for you before you go. Received a few calls recently from some folks, and I know the Water District you're turning over all the seat cushions, looking for all the change under there, trying to find every penny you can. But one of the landlords, they were both talking about the same issue. One said that he had a piece of property that had, it had different renters in over the years, and that the Water District was trying to collect a bill from 2014 with several prior tenants back, and threatening to cut off the water to the current tenant that's in there now if this bill from 2014 wasn't paid. Does that sound like something going on? Because it
I will have
didn't
to
seem
look
quite right to me.
I will have to look at that, County Attorney Gold, but I do know that our tariff says that if a tenant skips out on the bill, the landlord is on the hook for that.
Just 12 years to sleep on something and
But
keep
that
providing
is an
water for
extensive
12 years
amount of
seems
time.
a little weird.
I totally agree with that, but I can look into that, and if you want after the
Okay,
meeting,
and I can
I'll
get
with
names to you.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Any other questions, Mark? Appreciate the update. Keep up the
Thank
good
you.
work.
Thank you, Mark.
very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Yes, sir.
Next, we have some tax rates to set, and I'll call up our Extension Service representatives, Allie Rasher and Rachel Lake.
Good morning, how are y'all?
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
So the Extension District Board met on August 14th at 8 a.m. To go over all the tax rates. They agreed that the taxes should not be raised or changed in any ways, and the members voted to take the compensating rate on real and personal property, which those are.
The real property is 0.0340, and the personal property is 0.0420.
So they voted in favor of taking those rates, and they also voted to continue taxing aircraft, documented watercraft, and in-transit inventory.
Which you have in the past.
Yes,
Yeah.
yep, nothing changed.
So, short of passing a certain threshold, which they have not, all we do in this case is just vote to accept their tax rates. Get a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? Thanks for your hard work and keeping taxes flat. I appreciate that.
Yep, thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You have representatives from the library also setting tax rates. Shannon Sandiford's with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
How are you, Shannon? I'm good.
Thank you.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
We're good.
Good, good. Well, the Board of Trustees met on August 13th to set our annual tax rates, and they have voted to adopt the compensating rate again this year, which means real property is 10.7, personal property is 13.09, and motor vehicle is 2.3. They, regarding the optional taxes, the board voted to not take the aircraft tax, but we are collecting watercraft and in-transit inventory.
And that is the same as last year?
Yes, sir.
Again, they did not exceed thresholds for fiscal court approval of their tax rates, so we vote to accept them, get them on the record.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions on that of Shannon? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And you gave us a little highlight here.
Yes, yes, just wanted to give you a few updates. Last year, we saw over 172,000 people came into the library, so we're very excited about that. We hosted our first ever Smithsonian traveling exhibit, The Americans. Our mobile library, which of course then takes library services all throughout the city and county, saw an increase of 59%, because if you recall, the year before that, we bought a brand new bookmobile. So we're excited about that. We unveiled our Henderson's first official story walk at Atkinson Park. And of course, we partnered with the Chamber Economic Development Tourism to create the Henderson Hospitality Summit, which brought Will Guidera to Henderson. So thrilled about that. A couple of upcoming events. We are bringing Dan Issel, former UK player, to the library on October 29th at 6 p.m. Former UK star and NBA All-Star, so make sure to mark your calendar for that. And then, Bill, this one's for you. We're having the Turkey Bingo again, November 7th at 5 p.m., so we hope you'll join us again
I
to
will
call
be there.
bingo.
Thank you.
Yes. So any questions? I'll be glad to answer anything that you have.
I guess Dan Issel's visit is in conjunction with his new book.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
It's a memoir.
Yes. Yep.
Also, did you want to mention something about your collaboration with the Henderson Area Arts Alliance?
Sure, yeah. This is our second or third year that we have partnered with HAW, and we are sponsoring their dinosaur program.
It's the season opener. right?
Yes, season opener. Last year, we actually hosted the season opener at our facility. This year, we're helping sponsor it and partner, and we'll be out there during the show as well.
And it really tied
Yes.
in well with the summer reading program. I
Oh,
think.
yes, yes. Our summer reading program was Unearth Your Story, so all about dinosaurs. So, yes.
I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anything else for Shannon? We appreciate all the library does, and
Thank
the
you.
number of programs that you tuck into your busy schedule is pretty amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a very active year that helped a lot of people. So
Thank you. Thank you. And Brad, I just want to say thank you to you. Thank you for your service. Thank you that you've always been a very kind and strong advocate of the library. And I just want you to know I've noticed that, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Easy to root for the library.
Thank you.
you,
Anything else for
Shannon.
me? No.
Keep on keeping on.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all you do.
Thank you.
It's kind of odd. The bookmobile was having trouble coming out of Powell Street and heading north on the green because there's a tree hanging over. And I'm giving my props to the city. I called the city on a Friday afternoon, and that Monday they had that all taken care of. So it's safe for all people. You can
Yes.
walk down the sidewalk without ducking your head, and you can actually see the oncoming traffic. So
Yes, and I mean, that's true about city and county. Anytime we've needed anything, they've responded very well. So, yeah, all props.
Seems like I see that bookmobile everywhere.
Yes, that's our goal. If there's a corner we're not reaching, you let us know. We'll get there too.
Thank you, Shannon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have second reading of our own tax rates, and with that, I'll turn it over to the fiscal court clerk.
The property assessment has now been certified by the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department of Revenue Office of Property Valuation and permissible ad valorem tax rates and revenue for fiscal year 2026-2027 established for Henderson County in accordance with KRS 68.245 through 68.249. Be it ordered by the Fiscal Court of the County of Henderson, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the following tax rates for 2026-2027 are hereby set. These are rates per 100, real property 12.8 cents, expected gross revenue $3,890,716,000. Personal property 18.4 cents, $818,316. Motor vehicles 8.5 cents, $390,097. Public service county real estate 11.8 cents, $158,319. Public service county personal, 17.5 cents, $469,452. Watercraft, 8.5 cents, gross expected, $14,962. Further, be it ordered that a 3 cents per acre tax be levied on all privately owned timberland in Henderson County, which is required to be listed for taxation and credited to the Forest Fire Protection account.
Judge, I move to accept the budget.
Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second?
Is that Tim?
Yes.
I'll remind everybody that this is the 11th straight year we've not increased these rates a single penny. And another reminder of the total tax bill that our citizens get every year. The money that funds county government amounts to only about 12% of that total. People often consider the entire tax bill to be our responsibility, and it's not the case. So remember that next time you pay taxes and you get mad at fiscal court, we're just 12% of that little pie. So with that, we'll call the roll.
Magistrate Starks.
Aye.
Magistrate Barry.
Aye.
Magistrate Southard.
Aye.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Aye.
Magistrate Putman.
Aye.
And I'll vote aye for the record. Thank you. Next, I have a couple appointments. First, on the Riverport Board, Eric Dalton has served now for one term, and he's due to be reappointed, and he's done a very good job, and I'd like to offer to reappoint Eric, who upon reappointment, I believe, will become chairman of the Board of Directors. And also Scott Keach, after decades of service to the Riverport Board, has agreed to, his term is ending, and he agreed not to re-up. He's done his duty, there's no doubt about it. And Aaron Moit, who has served on the Riverport's Advisory Committee, which is kind of an informal observation committee that helps them develop a pipeline of future board members. He's participated in that and got good reports, and he's more than eager to jump on the full Board of Directors. So I'm offering up Aaron Moit to take that seat, as well as reappointing Eric Dalton. I need a motion.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Also, we have an opening on the Audubon Area Community Services Board of Directors. And I talked to Kendall Dean, who is Executive Director of the Father Bradley Shelter, and is a rising star in our community, a great lady, and many of her clients at Father Bradley Shelter utilize services that are offered by the Audubon Area Community Services Organization. So she's very familiar with that program, so I thought it'd be a good fit. And she's agreed, so I'm offering up Kendall Dean to represent us on the Audubon Area Community Services Board. And I'll need a motion on that.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Do we have Lori Miller with us? Oh,
There she is.
welcome.
Apologize for my absence last month. Hopefully, my numbers made it to you guys, though. So, the report I sent you actually combined the last 2 months, but today I'll just share August since it's pretty much over. So, our calls for service for animal control officers were 13, with injured animals being the highest number. So, a lot of animals being hit lately, found on the side of the road. Odd. It's usually animals running at large is their highest call, usually. Well, that was only 3 for August so far. So adoptions, we've for the month of August, only 6 dogs, 4 cats, and 1 rabbit, which Officer Moore and I successfully caught. It was a domesticated rabbit, but it's since been adopted. For spay-neuter surgeries, we've had 9 community cats, which are stray or feral cats that are not owned, 7 dogs, and 8 cats. We've also hired a new animal control officer. I believe she's in her 2nd week now, Devontae Pierce. So, so far so good. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I know in light of some recent events, you've been coordinating with Mr. Gold about, making sure everybody's aware at animal control of their responsibilities versus what police handle, and
Yes.
appreciate your making sure they are clear on that.
Yes, thanks for the clarification. As you know, we have pretty much all new staff since, previous years, any incidents where there was confusion on, their role in law enforcement. So the Humane Society is working on our procedures and getting that all in writing. So it's clear, especially for our new hire.
Yeah. Any help you need with that, make sure everybody's on the same page, let us know.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. Yeah.
I was going to ask, does that bring us up to full complement, or do we still have vacancies out there? Or-
No, we are fully staffed.
Great.
So should be good. Yeah. Could always use more help, though.
Yeah.
Anything else? Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next, we had a meeting of the Surface Mine Committee on a bond release, property in the former coal mine section out towards Hebbertsville, Bluff City. It was increment 13, approximately 22 acres, 18 acres, 22 acres. Surface Mine Committee met, recommends release of this bond. Any members of the committee like to offer any other thoughts? State's approved, and Surface Mine Committee approved, and so they'll recommend approval of the fiscal court. Need a motion?
So
releasing
moved.
this. We have a motion and a second to release that bond. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Chief Dixon is with us from Henderson Fire Department. We have some news on the grain bin trading facility we partnered with the city on, and Josh, if you'd join us up here. The city did put this out for bid, and we had 1 bid in the end, and it was maybe a little higher than we expected. We budgeted $300,000 for this. That was strictly a guess, because this kind of facility is not one that's been built in the state as far as we know, or even immediate surrounding states. So it was truly just a wish, and it came in at around $420,000, our 1 bid. So I know Josh has had some conversations with Jesse Johnston, who's head of J&B Mechanical, which in the bid, and Again, because it was significantly over what we budgeted, we have some options to think about on what we might do next. So with that, I'll kind of turn it over the floor to you, and maybe we can continue the discussion, see what the fiscal court thinks.
Well, thanks for letting us be here. I thought first I'd open up, I brought Assistant Chief James Egbert, and we also have Jeff King. It's been a little while since we rescued, I believe it was your uncle, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'd like for him to just take a few minutes to talk about the importance of what this prop brings for us and brings to the county.
Yeah. Like you said, I'm Battalion Chief James Egbert. At the time of the incident, I was Captain Egbert on Red Shift. This is what we call a very high-risk, low-frequency event. We don't train for this often because it's not so high-risk. This, what we would consider low-risk, high-frequency would be a medical call. In 2020, there was a study done. 50% of grain bin engulfments, like your family member, ended in fatality. And I wouldn't say our rescue was luck that night years ago, but it could have went a different way. This is something that if we could have this prop to train with, to mutual aid train with the county, this would better prepare us to approach this all-hazard incident. This type of discipline is a combination of rope rescue, confined space, hazardous materials, and engulfment. So this is a high-risk event, and this is probable that this could happen in our county again, or our city with the granary and other granaries like downtown. So.
Thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, so just to highlight on his, Henderson is in the top 5 for grain production in the state of Kentucky. So, the point is that, it is a need. It's something that it's not if, it's when. And the prop will definitely benefit not only the city, but also benefit the county too. So like Judge Snyder was saying, the bid did come in. It came in at $426,812, of course, and I think we had $300,000 allocated for that in that budget. But in doing a little bit of research, they do make a portable training trailer that the deputy judge actually got a price on it, and it was a little over $748,000 with a 4-year build time. So I'm not sure if the $426,000 price tag is out of the question. I think it's close, but it was just one of those things we didn't know until we put it out for bid. I did have a couple of options for you all to ponder over. Option 1, of course, is to accept the bid as is because it has all our wants and needs, all the safety features that we need. Option 2, being with the city and we follow model procurement with KRS, and I'll pass this out so you all have a copy of it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so under KRS 45.375, negotiations after competitive bids, sealed bidding when all bids exceed available funds. So if you look down at actually Section 3, it states, where after competitive sealed bidding, it is determined in writing that is there only one responsive or responsible bidder, a non-competitive negotiation award may be made with such bidder in accordance to KRS 45A.380. I think that's what we fall under for a second option. I do think that we could go back to the one bid and the vendor and have an opportunity to negotiate, and we would call that a valued engineering evaluation, which is where we can cut what we can and try to make sure that it doesn't hinder our operations on our safety and stuff like that. But I think we could bring that cost down just a little bit. That would be option 2, and then option 3, of course, is to rebid it, which in my experience, when you rebid something, there's a high probability it's going to go up because we already got a number out there. So that's the 3 options for you all to ponder over. If you accept it, I guess we're done. We'll move on. If you want option 2, I would ask for us to have a couple weeks to sit down with that vendor and bring a formal proposal back to you all.
And for the court's benefit on that, option 2 that he's talking about, the competitive negotiation after sealed bidding, our administrative code, the county administrative code, even though the city's doing this, the county administrative code does have provisions for that when that occurs. That would be section 4.4 and 4.5 of the county administrative code do provide for that same type of thing.
Okay.
So I'm open to your thoughts.
Well, Judge, I like to negotiate with that vendor again, if that was the only bid we got, and understanding what you're saying, you know, you put it back out there again, it could
Yes, sir.
escalate or get a lot higher, so. I like the thought of going back and trying to negotiate something that's either in the budget or closer than.
Right.
But is that losing some of the safety? And you mentioned that maybe to renegotiate, you may have to lose some things.
Well, that's why we call it a value engineering
Right.
evaluation. We take all that accounts in effect to make sure that you don't lose the operations of that features of that. But,
And we want it done right.
right, no, 100%, I agree. Like I said, I'm all about option one.
Well,
Yeah.
it is important to know, this is not just a normal corn bin. This is a bin with a lot of features added to it to help make it a training facility, including, for instance, a separate staircase, different than the ones you see on grain bins that kind of spiral around the edge. This has got a dedicated staircase, a wide staircase, because we're going to have a lot of people going up to the top in
Right.
order to observe training. Things like that help drive up the
You know,
cost.
and talk about the vacuum system too. That was something originally that we weren't going to put into it, but the intent behind that was it was a portable vacuum that we could actually use in an actual emergency. So if we needed it, we had it, because that actually takes the grain off of the person faster.
I'm in favor for the negotiation, but I'd like to see a detailed itemized cost, you know, in the bid as is versus what you're proposing to negotiate or take out, and then we can decide, is it worth the whatever we're gonna save to get rid of this, or we take it as is?
I think that's
that'd be
possible.
the best approach.
Also, it's important to note that when we initially began to talk about the possibility of this, the idea was that local farmers would donate grain in order to put in the bin and to train in. A lot of problems with that. Number one, it might not be donated, might have to buy it every year, and we're talking about not an insignificant amount of money to do that, and then we have to, the city's maintaining it, and that has its own problems maintaining real corn. Other facilities we've seen out in the country use Teflon beads to mimic the corn. You don't have to replace those every year, you keep them clean, it's much easier. That is not included in this bid, and I think we estimated at the cost of that about $80,000.
Maybe. I mean, that's the first proposal we got was around that number, but we have had difficulty finding vendors that actually do it, so that's something we're just going to have to continue to search for to make sure we get the best price.
Are those pellets or fake corn, plastic?
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah. But they last a long time. And
Right.
Well, that was my next question. What's the life?
Easier to keep clean. Keep the
Right, and
facility clean.
in the MOU, the city county, once we start having to refill it, it's a split on cost.
So it sounds like we'd love to see the attempt to negotiate this down.
Make
Yes.
a motion for that.
And I'm like Taylor, I would like to see the breakdown of, because
Provide
do
that
that.
to us.
there may be some of the safety things may be the reason why this price is so high.
Right.
See if we can.
Well, we don't want to spare any expense with the safety of it.
Well, I think the bottom line is, when you're at the tip of the sword, sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
That's right. That's true.
Not really sure it needs a vote, but it'd be nice to just get a motion and a second to approve.
I make the motion to go for negotiation.
I second it.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed?
We'll bring something in a couple
Good
weeks.
luck.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank y'all, appreciate it.
Thank you, Chief.
Next, Jailer Willett with a bid request.
How are y'all today?
Good morning, sir.
So what we're looking at is we are wanting to bid out the kitchen and the commissary. Right now, we're on one-year extension from the original contract. We actually get that twice, so actually 2 years. In the kitchen contract, some of the things that I've noticed is the vegetables that we give the kitchen, we're not getting reimbursed for from Kelwell. Once, a long time ago, we used to get reimbursed for those vegetables that we give them. In other words, if we pay $1.75 for a tray per inmate, they would knock off so much. Well, they're not doing that now. So we're paying full price for the trays, plus giving them vegetables to add in there. So that's one of the reasons that we want to do that for the kitchen. But I also want to go ahead and bid it out, get a contract to the end of my term, because I really like Kelwell, but we just need to bid them out right now.
The current extension, when does that end?
So that started in May of this year, and so it'll be May of next year.
Next
when
year,
it ends.
Okay, so basically into the fiscal year, towards the
Yes,
end of
sir.
the fiscal year. So you're not going to bid it out till then, right? Or ahead
Well,
of
I was
the
going to
fiscal-
try to go ahead and bid it out now. Go ahead and get it bid out.
Is there any issue with that plan, Mr. Gold? Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, I mean, we have seen the longer the actual term of the contract with some of the things, the higher the price, because the company kind of locks in their profit, and they're kind of reading tea leaves into the future, which is why I think sometimes they've done a little bit shorter contracts, 2-3 years, and then had potential extensions onto that, just to see where markets were on things. But now I don't know if Jailer Willett, he's talking about getting, some concessions for some of the vegetables and things like that. So depending on what the markets of those commodities will be in the future, that could help or hurt depending on whether those go up. But
And at one point, so they would say so many thousands of pounds. So like if they get 50,000 pounds of vegetables, that's when they start knocking the money off. And then every 1,000 pounds over something, they would actually knock off more, because we would sell it to them at a fair market value. So that would be that much more coming off of the inmate trays, which is going to save us money in the long run.
Are there very many competitors to Kelwell?
There's a few. There's you got Aramark, you got, I can't think of the rest of them, but Aramark's the other big one that is around.
So taking out the bid will be worth it because
Yes,
we get a couple, 3 bids.
yes.
So, but you're in a contract till May, right? We can't get out of that contract, right?
It's an extended contract.
there's an extension to the contract.
It's a 60 days, I think.
And there's
Okay.
a termination clause in there that would allow for that. Yeah, and then there's always discussions about can one future court bind a future fiscal court? Yes and no is usually the answer to that. Generally the answer is no, but on certain things that are operational like this or certain leases, it can be done. We'll just, as it goes out, we'll have to make sure the bid specs clearly state that and clearly acknowledge that there will be a future fiscal court involved that might make changes. Now, when there's something like a 60-day out, we don't have to worry as much about that, because that future court could choose to exercise that. Why they would, if the jailer is happy, I don't know, but we always have to look out for that when we're doing those bid requests and contracts.
Just to avoid all that complication, would it make sense to wait till after January 1 to actually bid this out?
We can. I mean, I was just trying to get it all done now before.
I don't know that would necessarily be, help or hurt one way or another, because there is that, we'll build in that safety valve of the 60-day or 30 or 90 or whatever it may be. I think we would prefer on their side a longer out, because if they just decided they were done for some reason, prices went higher than they expected and they just wanted out, our ability to get it fully advertised, bid out, vetted, scored, and then awarded is going to take a minimum of 60 days usually. So, but I don't know if there shouldn't be a barrier if he wants to go ahead and do it now. I don't know. And this may be a good time in the commodities pricing world. I don't know enough about
Yep.
what we're buying from them and whether the prices are low or high right now, but if,
Well, what that'll do too is that'll give us an idea of how many vegetables that we're gonna plant next year.
Right.
That gives them a better idea, because around February-ish, I think, is when they start buying all the plants, seeds, stuff like that to put it out. So, I mean, we're gonna try to do a whole lot more next year than we are this year.
so you'll know what your benchmark is at that point as far as what your
Exactly.
deliverables are to them for that. Makes sense.
Any other questions? Get a motion to approve going out to bid?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. You also have detention center reports. Anything you want to add to the detention center reports?
The only thing that I'm gonna add is the last bid that we got, or the last approval we got for bids for the air conditioners. We're still working on those. We're trying to get all the specs. We're waiting on Train to get us everything that we need to put into the bid. So,
Thank you.
Jailer, I just really hope you have a very bountiful harvest next year.
we're getting
You
it.
know, you can get rid of the extras.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salvation Army all around. So,
Thank you.
While the jailer is up, it might be a good time to, I had mentioned to the judge previously, you know, I referenced our administrative code earlier on some procurement things. One thing that we've gone through when they were looking at buying some new tasers is that our administrative code doesn't actually allow something that the statute allows, which is competitive, or well, non-competitive negotiation for sole source providers. And you know, the state and most other entities look at the Axon company that produces tasers as being somewhat unique in what they provide, so they treat them as sole source and enter into negotiations with them. Our administrative code doesn't allow the county judge to declare a company as a sole source provider and then enter into those things. So it's something that I think we need to look at it, changing the administrative code to come more in line with the statute. You know, even though we don't follow model procurement, usually what we follow is less restrictive than model procurement, but now here we are, our hands are a little more tied because we don't have that in our administrative code. And also the statute has on purchases changed from what is in our administrative code, a $40,000 threshold to a $50,000 threshold. So one of those things that while we've got the hood up, we can kind of tinker around and have it come into compliance with state law and that. So that's, I just wanted to put that out there. And I think there's some other pathways to go ahead and get this taser purchase done, potentially, but things like that may come up, and I think it's an opportune time to look at it, making those
and the only
tweaks
reason
to
we're
the
looking at
administrative code.
tasers is because our tasers are becoming obsolete, which means that we won't be able to purchase those tasers coming up about the first of the year, because Axon is always doing what any electronic company does. They're upgrading. So, and then they get rid of the last model, which is what we have at the jail, so we won't be able to get those replaced, and we're gonna have to start buying other tasers. One of the issues we have right now is we have several tasers down, so I'm kind of holding off until we can get approved to buy these instead of buying a taser that's gonna go obsolete at the beginning of the year.
Jailer, one more thing, just briefly. How was the Second Chance gathering?
It was awesome. We had several people there, several employers. There were some things that we learned that second chance employers can get incentives from the state to hire felons. Like, let's say they go there and the rule is they can't hire anybody that's had a felony within the last 5 years. Well, the state gives an incentive to where if they do hire that felon that just got out of jail recently for a felony, they'll give them an incentive. So that's something that we've learned about that. And we're in the process of that. We're in the process of getting that running. It's just a matter of getting all the gears in the right motion to to get it going in the right direction.
Sounds good.
And we're getting a person right now that's going to be the point of contact for all that, so we can start getting them out, talking to these employers, and maybe even the ones that's not second chance, turn them into a second chance employer.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Jailer. County Clerk Renee Abner, her report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today, I have the report for the payments made to the county for the month of July 2026. I have excess fees for the month of $106,583.68, with a total remitted of $165,003.21. This is a little lower than the same month last year due to last year we had two very large tax bills that were paid by some companies right before our tax sale. So it's just a little bit lower, but we're having our tax sale this month, so I do expect that to turn around.
Any questions of Renisa?
Move to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Mr. Gold, your report.
Judge, I've got several checks today. One for interest in the amount of $74.61, a flow-through from the city, $458.33. Dental, life, and vision in the amount of $647 and $11.10. Aflac, $370.30. Clinic, $330.88. Health insurance, $17,116.19. And another interest check, $72.19, bringing today's total to $17,086.60, and the fiscal year total to date to $52,567.84.
Motion to accept those.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Treasurer Ryder.
You have before you, the appropriation transfer. This is redistributing appropriations within the current fiscal year. And I also have a cash transfer from the general fund to the economic development fund of $59,000, and this is a budgeted transfer.
Any questions about transfers?
Move to accept.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
You have received your bank balances after paying claims today. Your day-to-day appropriation line should be at approximately 16%. I do have additional claims. From the general fund to Darren Fagley, $3,000. This is for the State of the County video and is to come from the advertising for fiscal court appropriation line. To Henderson City County Airport Board, $3,822.34. This is for 4 or 5 invoices for the county's match of the airport improvement grants and runway extension grants. These expenses are in addition to the monthly appropriations and are to come from the Air Board maintenance appropriation line. To Don Franklin Somerset Incorporated, $42,898. This is for a 2026 Dodge Durango Black Pursuit V8 for the Sheriff's Department and is to come from the Sheriff's Vehicle Appropriation Line. This was approved at the July 14, 2026 meeting to go out for this. To Magistrate Starks, $682.26. This is for training expense and is to come from the Fiscal Court Conferences Training Appropriation Line. From the road fund to Palmer Trucks, $4,090.66. This is for parts and is to come from the Maintenance and Repairs Equipment Appropriation Line. To Southeastern Equipment Company, $623.35. This is for parts and is to come from the Maintenance and Repairs Equipment Appropriation Line. To Taylor Southern Service, $990.50. This is for labor and parts and is to come from the maintenance and repairs equipment appropriation line. To Visa, $591.86. The majority of this is for the Kentucky Recreation and Park Society membership dues, and also for recycling, training, travel. And these are to come from the Parks Program and Supplies appropriation line and the Recycling Staff Training and Travel appropriation line. To Vomac Truck Sales and Service, $720. This is for parts and is to come from the Maintenance and Repairs Equipment appropriation line. To Nick Stallings, $569.46. This is for training expense reimbursement and is to come from the County Engineer Training Travel appropriation line. From the jail fund to Republic Services, $1,053.97. This is for service and is to come from the Contracted Services Other appropriation line. From the LGEA fund to the City of Henderson, $18,969.33. This is for the county's part of 911 reimbursement for the months of April through June 2026 and is to come from the Communications Center 911 appropriation line. From the State Grants Fund to Liberty Tire, $2,203.23. This is for tire collection services and is to come from the Waste Tire Grant appropriation line.
Any questions?
I was waiting to see if she was just taking a breath or.
There was a lot.
Is that it?
We have a motion and a second.
Who made the first motion?
Tim.
Any other questions on those? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have a couple more things.
Yep.
Still here. The July 31st, 2026 bank account for the ARPA fund had a balance of $118.09. This was due to the interest accruing while waiting for the outstanding checks to clear. I'm asking for approval to close the ARPA fund bank account, moving the remaining funds to the general fund miscellaneous revenue line, which is allowable.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions about that?
Friend, if you could just explain this is allowable, because every time we brought up so-called ARPA funds for a long time, I've always kind of said, well, we've already taken that into the general fund. There's a separate account called an ARPA fund, but
Yes, sir.
under the federal rules, if you receive less than 10 million, that's presumed to have been lost revenue to the county, right?
Yes.
So you didn't have to go through all the complicated formulas and everything.
No.
But the county, generally in spending those, has tried to remain true to those ideas of what that money was spent on and whatnot. Is that correct? If you could
Yes, sir.
explain a little more. I'm not super well-versed in all that, but I know you are.
The initial beginning of the ARPA funds, once they determined it was lost revenue, were specifically designated, the actual funds received were specifically designated for specific purposes related to ARPA or related to the COVID. The option of using the interest, that was an option. It could be an interest-bearing account. We were allowed that. But the option of the county using the interest for ARPA, towards ARPA projects, that was an option of the county, which the county did use all of the interest except for this $118.09. And as hard as you try to zero it out, it gets kind of hard.
I just want to make it clear even though it was ARPA funds.
Yes.
And amplify what Steve just said. We didn't just try to spend that money according to ARPA guidelines. We did only spend that money on
Yes,
ARPA
sir.
guidelines. Even though we had more flexibility, we've spent every dime on items mentioned as eligible within the ARPA guidelines and did a lot of good with that.
Yes, sir.
So with $118 left, I think we can take that in general fund and not feel guilty about doing that. Entertain a motion to do that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have one more thing.
Awesome.
Every fourth year, which is an election year, KRS 68.310 states that the disbursements from each county budget fund are limited to 65% of the budgeted amount through December 31st. The statute also provides for an exception when the county judge executive, the fiscal court, and the state local finance officer agree in writing that a circumstance or circumstances exist with and warrants an exception. Currently, I do have one exception that I'm asking for. The Economic Development Fund is at 79%. And the reason for that, this is due to having to void the fiscal year 26 transaction for the approved Columbia incentive and reissuing in fiscal year 27. I am asking for approval to submit documentation to DLG, the Department of Local Government, for the exception. This will need to be signed off by the judge executive and signature of one magistrate.
Everybody understand that? We need a
Make
motion.
to.
You have a motion and a second? Second. Okay. Any other questions about that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
If anybody would like to speak for good of the county, feel free to come up. Come on, Randy.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Randy.
The last fiscal court meeting, you guys approved a new hire for Assistant Codes Administrator. I want to introduce Rick Whitledge, the new Assistant Codes Administrator, to you guys. He started last Monday and has been helping me out, learning the information and following me around and trying to get knowledgeable in all the stuff that my department does. So I greatly appreciate you guys approving that hire, and he's here. And
We appreciate Rick accepting. Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, and
And I need your phone number.
Do we need to talk after or something? But I'm grateful for the opportunity, so thanks for having me.
Thank you, and yeah, you got to fight the urge to just put it all off on Rick now.
He's had a lot of people warn him already about the job, so hopefully he sticks around. I think he's got a uphill battle just learning all the information that there is with all the different codes and zoning ordinances and all that. So
before we turn him loose completely, he's got some training to do, and that'll take a little while, but hopefully be much more efficient and helpful in the Codes Administrator office. And thank you for coming on with us.
I've still got my Indeed app backed up on my phone just in case.
Uh-oh.
Go ahead and delete that. Go ahead and delete that.
I think you'll enjoy the work. It helps property owners in this county. So.
What's that? Yeah, I've told him all this. Yeah, it's been some interesting stories he's heard experience over the years. So yeah, it's he's not quit yet. So
thank you all.
Thanks.
Thanks. Thank you, Randy.
Anybody else like to speak for good of the county? Please introduce yourself.
Yes, good morning. My name is Joseph. I'm a resident of Henderson County. I was really pleased to hear about the training facility that the fire department is looking at trying to get built. My question is, it was said that as far as we are aware, this would be the only kind of training facility in the state and surrounding states. What would be the potential for inviting other departments to come and get that training, so God forbid something like that happen in their district, they can be prepared?
We talked about that from the very beginning. And technically, when we're done with this transaction, the city is going to own it, maintain it, and schedule it. They will have to work out their own method for allowing other communities outside the county to utilize it. I have faith they will, and I think it'll be a great thing, not only for our county, but the tri-state area and beyond. So, yeah, I think that's in the works.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else for good of the county? All right, we'll go around the horn, and we'll start with Magistrate Starks.
Thank you, Judge, and good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out or watching online, and what a beautiful day it is. I would encourage folks to try to take some time just to be out in nature and enjoy this late summer weather that we're enjoying right now. Had an opportunity to be at the Kentucky State Fair on opening day last week, and I just want to say hats off to our tourism director, Abby Dixon, and her volunteers that are manning the State Fair Pride of the Counties booth. That's kind of new, because in the past, we've basically been joining with other counties in a regional type of situation. We now actually have our very own booth, so we can tell our own story. It's very colorful, it's very informative, it's a lot of fun. And again, hats off to them for taking on that initiative. I think it's very important. Why wouldn't you want to be on a big stage like that with all the other communities and counties in the state? And so I wish them nothing but great success, and hats off to them. Have a safe and happy Labor Day holiday weekend coming up. There'll be a lot of traffic out, especially if the weather stays like it is. Just have fun and be safe. And certainly, like Butch was talking about, the Second Chance program, I certainly think that's the thing to be looking at, trying to help reduce the amount of recidivism that we see sometimes on inmates going back into the detention center. And other than that, I think all is good. Now we've got all lanes of the bridge back open. Everything else in District 5 is doing pretty good.
Thank you. Master Barry?
Thank you, Bill. That's, he covers for me too, so I like that. Now, I don't have much, Judge. Thank everybody for being here. Beautiful weather, like Bill said. I think it's all good in District 1 right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gold?
Want to echo what Magistrate Stark said about the Second Chance program. There are no throwaway people, and that's a very important thing. And one of my things I've always been big in is we can, it's easier to build stronger kids than fix broken adults. And that's not saying we shouldn't be trying to fix adults or help them and give them that second chance, but really big into trying to build the strongest, resilient kids that we can. And to that end, the Boys and Girls Club of Henderson County, the Fiddler Family Unit, has its Great Futures Dinner coming up in 2 days. It will be the 27th at 6 p.m. There are very few tickets still left, but it's going to be a great event. The speaker is Coach Flynn Clayman from High Point University. He's been kind of a rising star in the basketball coaching world, and he's going to be one of those guys that will go on to bigger, greater things and bigger schools, and it'll be somebody that you can say, hey, I saw him in Henderson before he hit it really, really big. But he's a D1 coach, took High Point to their first ever win in the NCAA tournament in his first year as a coach, which is just kind of a big deal. So he's a real rising star, and you can check on Facebook at the Boys and Girls Club Henderson Unit, or see me for tickets.
We will have a table of fiscal court members who are attending, so.
Fantastic.
Master Putman?
Thank you, Judge. Just, again, just thank everyone for being here, as Bill mentioned. Again, I give my props off to the city. I've had to call them on several different things here in the last week or so, and they followed through on it, so I appreciate what Brian Williams and all of them do over the city. And I hope all is good in the fourth. I had enough cause to try, so I'm going to say it's all good in the fourth, Judge. Thank you.
Master Tompkins?
I'd just like to remind everybody, along with Labor Day, harvest season's coming in, so pay attention, be courteous to the farmers. They're doing the best they can. That's it for me, Judge.
And Master Southern?
Like Taylor said, we're ramping up. It's hadn't got really busy yet, but it's getting ready to be. So please watch out for us. We're trying to stay out of your way as much as we can. And all's good in District 3.
Thank you. Is good news about the bridge. I'd like to remind everybody that, county government is, just like everybody else, kind of beholden to whatever KYTC thinks is best, and often we don't necessarily get the public announcements about their plans until they release to all media. We all find out, hopefully at the same time. Sometimes other people know first, but It's never the case where we're trying to withhold information or not relay information, but we relayed it when we got it. And I appreciate the fact that they got the temporary fix put together even faster than they had guessed. And we'll wait on some of the new equipment to get purchased and installed in the new bridge, installed in the southbound bridge. A group of people from BridgeLink, committee members of BridgeLink, the advocacy group for the I-69 bridge, met with the new Secretary, Rebecca Goodman, Secretary of Transportation, and it was mostly about I-69 and the bridge, but we also discussed the 41 bridge, and they characterized some of these fixes as long-term fixes and improvements, which was great to hear, because the other thing we've really been pushing for years now, besides the building of the new bridge, is the maintaining of the southbound bridge and keeping both twin bridges intact after the new bridge opens. When the initial record of decision application was sent to Federal Highways, I think everybody understands that that document anticipated the demolition of the southbound bridge. But even at that time, we knew that between that moment and when the new bridge opens, there would be a change of governorships in both states, Department of Transportation officials, and it would give us the opportunity to change their mind about whether to demolish the southbound bridge. And we have done that consistently. And the new leaders in both states, when it comes to transportation, are very open to this now. I've told people many times and expressed on social media times that I feel as good now about the retaining of the southbound bridge as a free route across the river, along with the northbound bridge, as I ever have in this whole period of time. And also remember that nothing can happen to the bridges until the new bridge opens. So there's even more time to solidify the support at the state level for the retaining of both twin bridges. There is also a part, and I hope everybody can hear this and understand this, in maintaining or getting the record of decision, which is basically the federal government's green light to building the new bridge. One of the things the states had to prove is what's called social equity. And that means that you are providing for the people with lower income a way to get across the bridge without undue financial burden, which means, in this case, paying the tolls. So there will always be, at the guidance of the federal government, there will always be a free route across the river. There is no situation anticipated ever where people would be forced to pay a toll to get to our community. In fact, I did a little research, and in the entirety of the Ohio River system and the entirety of the Mississippi River system, there's only one community that is only served by a toll bridge, and that is a community 30 minutes away from the Quad Cities area, in upper Midwest, that does have a free route across the river. So it's a bit of an anomaly. So I want everybody who's worried that at some point both twin bridges will be demolished and everybody will be forced to pay a toll to come to Henderson County via that bridge. It's just not the case. And it's spelled out in federal guidelines for the building of the new bridge. So hope that makes everybody feel better about that. And I think it also portends well for the maintaining of both twin bridges. So with that little treatise in transportation infrastructure, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.